In this video, I'm going to teach you how to never get scammed by plumbers.
We've been trying to reach you concerning your car's extended warranty.
I'm going to teach you some things you need to know, some questions you need to ask just to make sure that it doesn't happen. And look, we see it all the time. Actually, here at our company, we've got calls from customers saying, look, a guy just left my house, told me it would cost $10,000 to fix a gas leak. He never even tested anything. What do I do? Well, with questions here, asking the right thing, making sure that you do things right and get information the right way can really help determine whether you get scammed or not. Now, I hate to tell you this, there's a lot of people out there that are just scamming people, that are literally showing up at a hazardous time where you've just had a hurricane or tornado, anything at all, and they're gonna come in and solve all your problems. They just want you to give them a lot of cash first, and then they'll be right back.
Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah!
So what I'm gonna do today, I'm gonna go through the top 10 things I think you need to know to help you not get scammed. Are you ready?
Here we go!
So first of all, like I said a while ago, never do cash. Now, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of roofers that say, hey, look, if you pay me cash, I'll give you a 10% discount, but they don't get their money up front. They're like, look, I'm not worried about it. I know you're gonna pay, I know where you're at. Now, I also know a lot of plumbers, they'll say the same thing. Well, hey, pay me cash so I don't have to pay taxes on it, and I can give you a big discount. Problem is, most of these guys normally aren't legitimate plumbing companies anyway. So be very careful if you're gonna pay cash. Now, I'm not saying you can't pay cash, but wait till the job's done. Say, okay, look, I like everything. I've got my permit, I've got my inspection, everything's great. Here you go. Don't just give them a bunch of cash up front. There's a lot of people that will just run away. And number two, get all the details. Make sure that you know the name of the company. Are they licensed? Are they insured? Make sure you're doing business with a legitimate company. You don't want to get scammed, ripped off, taken advantage of, or anything at all. And most legitimate companies aren't going to do that. It's when Chuck in a truck pulls up and says, hey, I can fix that for you. Or you get on social media and you see somebody that has a friend of a friend of a friend that, man, he's a great plumber. He spells plumber P-L-U-M-M-E-R.
That is not correct.
Be very careful and get all the details up front. Make sure you're covered. Number three, kind of going on to get all the details, avoid vague estimates. Well, you know, it'll be about this much. It'll be about this much. One thing that most legitimate plumbing companies do, they come in and say, okay, it's going to be this many feet. This is how many feet we are charging you for. This is the cost per foot. And when you get clear details like that, you know. Now, I'm not saying there might not be some vagueness to it. There's times that we can only test a certain area up under a house, or maybe there's certain areas we can't get to. We will make sure that when we lay that out, when we give them the estimate, we'll take pictures of the piping diagram, we'll circle an area and say, look, this is where we're at, this is what we're looking at. These areas over here we can't even test yet because the other areas are so bad. And make sure you understand that from the get-go. So that leads me to number four, make sure you get very documented estimates. Now, we send out our estimates electronically. Some people may write them. Read through it. Make sure you're getting everything that you're paying for. Make sure it's all written down. There's a lot of people that, you know, in the beginning, they'll tell you anything you want to hear, but then later, after the work's done, it's like, I don't remember saying that. Are you sure I told you I'd do that? I told you I'd give you a free toilet?
Sorry, I have no recommendation of that.
I really don't remember saying that. Are you sure? Be very careful. If somebody tells you they're going to give you something, say, well, look, I don't see that in here. Would you please put it in here? I just want to make sure I'm covered. Which leads me straight into number five, avoid the false promises. Now, if you'll get things documented very clearly, there are no false promises. You're going to get exactly what's on that paper. So when you read through it, make sure everything there is listed. Now, number six is one you really need to think about here lately, availability of materials. Now, it's kind of crazy, but with all the freezes we've had on the coast, the prices we're having with materials worldwide, you need to make sure that the materials are available. And when you ask about it and you say, look, do you have enough pipe or can you get enough pipe to do this job? Prices have gone up drastically just in the last few months. Materials have become more scarce. We're having problems getting metal, plastics, things like that. And that literally leads to a lot of what plumbers do. So please make sure you check with the plumber, the person giving you the estimate, are all these materials available or have you had any problem getting materials? Hopefully they'll be honest with you and say, yeah, look, we have had problems, but we do have the materials to complete this job. Really will be a big deal. Now here's another thing to think about. Multiple estimates. Think about the lady that I talked about a while ago that had the plumbing company come out and tell her she needed a new gas line buried underground and it would be $10,000. Luckily, she said after she finished crying and cussing, she started praying and searching and she found Texas Green Plumbing. But when she found us, she called and we talked. We ended up getting somebody out there as a second estimate because she wanted to know, look, do I really have a problem like that? And we went out and she didn't. Fortunately for her, there were no leaks under the ground. She did have 3 leaks up in the attic, which that's originally what she called about anyway. Nothing outside like the other company told her. And the other company never came in the house, never went up into the attic. There are some crooked people out there. Be very careful about them. But even if it's not something like that, maybe it's just a regular plumbing job. Is it worth getting a couple of estimates? Sometimes it is. If you aren't very familiar with the plumbing company and understand they're going to do things the right way, they're going to do everything they can to take care of you, you may want to think about finding another company. And I always recommend knowing who your plumbing company is before you have problems. Meaning, if you show up at home one day at 6 o'clock in the evening after work and water's pouring through your ceiling because your water heater's up there, you know who your plumber is? The first one that answers the phone, the first one that can get there quickly. That's not the best way to find your plumber because you're going to be at his mercy and you may not be with the best plumber around. Take time now, find out by checking reviews, find out by doing research, look at their webpage. Do you like what you see? Are y'all's beliefs in line? And remember, it's not always about having the cheapest price. Sometimes it's about getting the best job done. Number 8, don't get gouged by affluence fees. Now, what I mean by that, and I've actually seen it on YouTube, there's some handymen, some plumbing companies, different people do videos. Yeah, we pull into the neighborhood, and if they've got a nice house, a nice car, we charge them a little bit more.
Ooh, this is nice!
And my thought is why? That's why we like using a straightforward pricing guide. We want to make sure when we open our book, we can show them this is exactly how much it is for everybody. Not just because you live in a nice neighborhood or just because you don't live in a nice neighborhood. This is our price. It's what we charge everybody. The people that have affluence pricing actually need to look out and be careful. They're liable to get in trouble. Number 9, take time to think. Now, think about that lady again with the gas line, and I know I keep going back to that, but there's a lot of things that could have happened to her that really she didn't deserve. So she took time. Don't just decide right now, well, look, I need my gas back on, so I'm going to go ahead and pay this. She was very smart. She called around, she got other pricing. Don't make a rush decision. These guys that show up and say, hey, look, you know what? If you'll sign on the dotted line right now, I'll give you 20% off. Hey, if you pay cash, I'll give you a discount right now. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of times that maybe a company is slower than normal and they can say, hey, look, if we do this job while we're here, we can go ahead and give you a 5% discount. But make sure that you understand the reputation of that company. Are they a reputable company? Do they have good reviews? Do they have good values? They may just be trying to keep their guys busy. To me, there's nothing wrong with that. And we call it make work. And man, I tell my guys whenever they go out and say, hey, look, I've told my guys in the past, whenever they're out on a job, if a customer says, well, you know what, I want to wait, I want to think about it. If we don't have anywhere for them to go, tell them, look, we can do a make work discount right now. They're like, well, what is a make work? Well, make work is I don't have anywhere else to go. And if you can make me work, it's worth it for a discount. And I know it's a tough way to be sometimes, but you know what? It gives the employees a discount and it's us being honest. I promise if they're not overinflating their prices, there's not just a ton of profit in there anyway. So that 5% normally is about all you can get. If it goes over that, they've really got their prices marked up way too much, and I'd be very worried if I were you. And the last one, and to me, this is a big one. Know what brands people are using? If I go out and quote somebody $2,000 for a water heater, and somebody else goes out and quotes them $1,900 for a water heater, and they go with the $1,900 just because it's cheaper, look, I install the best water heaters I can get. I install the best brands available. I don't know what they're installing or where they got it or how long they've had it. Make sure you understand what brands are going in. If you call my company and say, look, I want a new toilet, we're going to ask you, well, do you have any particular brand you want? How much money do you want to spend? Do you want a ultra nice toilet? Do you want just a cheap as I can get it toilet? What kind of toilet do you want? And some people it's about the pricing. And we can say, look, we have multiple levels. We have options. You can go this level toilet, which is okay. This one is great. And this one here is like the king's throne. Whichever one you want, we can put it in and take care of you. Think about it from the very beginning and ask, what brands are you installing? These are tips and tricks and questions to help you. If you've been scammed by somebody, leave me a comment down below and let me know what was it they told you or how did they do it to help pull the wool over your eyes. If you're a plumber, do you agree with me? Are all these things accurate? Or is there something you do to let your customers know, look, we really are trying to do the right thing? I think a digital or written estimate is amazing. It documents it. Also make note who the plumber is that's out there. Write his first and last name. If he's got a license, ask for it. These are things that can help you in the long run. So do me a favor, leave me a comment down below and let me know, what do you think? Is there something else I should have included, or is there something here that you don't think really matters? I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the expert plumber. I'll see you in the next video if you don't get flushed or taken advantage of.